Tá bem na pontinha. Tu gosta, né?
Ai, perdão. Não, vai ter tudo aqui. Então, o setor tem uma distribuição dele faz a gente sabe. Já é você vai na última hora. Obrigada. Vai ser na sala 10. A minha aula vai ser na sala 10. Obrigada.
Mas isso deixa para a quinta-feira.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you this package, which I think is very nice because it does provides a very intuitive understanding as how the city affects what I think are two really, really important geometries. One is access to sunshine, which of course all about solar. So this particular package will generate shadow patterns, generate shadow patterns for any given day, for any given hour. And in many climates, its access to sunshine is absolutely critical to determining human comfort in the outdoors. The other thing it does is it calculates the sky reflector. Which indicates what proportion of the sky you can see from a horizontal surface. So from a flat surface, you have an uninterrupted view of the entire sky. So imagine as a dome extending over your head. You're surrounded by sky and nothing else. There's nothing on the horizon. That's what's referred to as a sky view factor of 1. During the daytime, that means you have uninterrupted access to the sun. There's no shadows casting. But more importantly, it means that all the diffuse radiation that you receive from all parts of the sky, and all radiation emitted by the surface itself, goes out into all parts of the sky. So the surface can radiate at a free beat in all directions. And one thing you know about the sky is that, generally speaking, it re-emits very little of the radiation that I emit back to me. In other words, it's not very good at absorbing and then re-emitting it back toward me. So in a clear sky, the surface of the sky view factor of 1 cooled very, very quickly by radiation. In a city street, this is what really distinguishes the different abilities of the surfaces to cool. At the bottom of the street, we already know that they'll have interrupted access to the sun because the geometry of the street will create shadows. The other thing will change is it will change the sky view factor. So at this point in the street here, the sky view factor is less than 1. That's true of that surface there, so that surface there, and all points along it, the sky view factor is less than 1. This means that when that surface radiates energy, sun will go out of the sky, very efficient cooling, but a great deal of it will go to the surfaces. And those surfaces have temperature, and they will radiate back out to this surface. In other words, the sky view factor being less than 1 acts as a sort of insulation. At night time, long-wave radiation is recycled into the street. The surfaces basically are contact with each other. So these are two big things. This is especially in daytime, this is especially in nighttime. And that's why you always see, for example, there's the warming of the urban surface during the daytime because the materials, the surface, are beneath it. At night time, sky view factor controls cooling. So why is the urban atmosphere warmer at night time? Generally speaking, it's because it cools more slowly than the rural environment. So these two things are big dominant controls whenever you get a strong urban effect. What's the effect of wind? The effect of wind is to destroy all temperature differences. Because the effect of wind is to mix up everything. What's the effect of rainfall? The effect of rainfall is to switch all the systems from heating up the air to evaporation. In other words, you don't get big temperature differences. And remember the other thing about rainfall, in the rural environment, rainfall moistens the soil. It completely changes the thermal characteristics. The urban surface doesn't respond the same way. In other words, for the occasions where I'm really looking at a big temperature effect, so those two things dominate. So, the package I'm going to use is based upon geometry, and the geometry is associated with building footprints. So this is how I want to get the building footprints in Sao Paulo. I'm going to pull out one set of building footprints just to show you though. You go to download, you identify your own buildings. And it gives you all the shapefiles. So there's 96 different sets of shapefiles that make up the entire area. And I just pulled out a few. So there's one data set I've given you, which is a set of a few areas. I've pulled down the footprints for Consul Africa, for Bautista, and for Jackie Bautista. And this is because the only role I know very well is just having Bautista. So I just pull out the footprints from each of these, and then I merge them. I merge them because Bautista is the dividing line between all these areas. So the one that I have shown for you, it's on the data inside the folder I gave you, is a combination of all these. So we start with QGIS. Excuse me for a moment. It's freezing.
Qual foi o que ele baixou de edificação?
Verificações.
Ele juntou. Ele juntou a edificação com o chá. Não, ele juntou Bela Vista com Consolação e Jardim Paulista. E colocou na pasta compartilhada já um jeito. Ah, já para pegar lá. Entendi. Você baixa. Aí tá em data, né? Sim.
Excuse me.
Okay, it's a vector file, which means it consists of a series of points and lines. The first vector file I'm going to put up is the one that I created by merging all of those areas. It's a shape file, and I just call it study area. So these are all the other files associated with it. Includes it. It's important, by the way, it often gets very annoying. But it's information about how the real world is projected onto a flat map, the projection file. And my experience is whenever you have problems with different types of data sets, it's almost always associated with the projections to make sure that you get the right projection. So the projection that's used here you see it there. This is the projection system they use. I guess it's a Brazilian transverse Mercator. But everything else you get mapped to that one. So you'll find that it's often the case that you want to merge data sets together. And the merging has got to agree that they have the same geographic references in it. Now I put down another data set here which was of the terrain. What does this represent? This represents the footprints of every single building. So if I zoom in here, by the way, this is classic design. You can see, and we talked about neighborhoods, and then we talked about buildings. Well, I sort of jumped over. A lot of people would say buildings are connected to blocks, connected to streets, connected to blocks, connected to neighborhoods. And you can see this part of Sao Paulo is beautifully organized along these grid systems. I think there's north. So this is a classic sort of design of a Mediterranean city. With the grid system, but the grid is off or on. If you went to Washington, D.C., they also use a grid, but the grid is north-south. Think about what the impact of that is. A north-south oriented street, north-south and east-west, outside the tropics, means that one side of the street is going to get sunshine throughout the daytime. On east-west street, it's going to be the far side of the street will get sunshine, the other side of the street will be in shade all the time. Apart from the early morning and late afternoon. But it's a classic sort of design for Mediterranean cities. Uses the grid. The grid is at 90. If you ever see a picture, by the way, of Los Angeles from the air, it's very interesting. Because Los Angeles was a Spanish city to begin with. And they laid out the Spanish city using that grid. But then when it became an Anglo city, around about the turn of the 20th century, they switched to the north-south orientation. So if you want to do a nice study, Los Angeles is interesting because the city center around the original mission is organized like this. And then once you get outside that area, the whole thing switches and goes in a different direction. So if you want an example of how culture informs the building or layout of the city, Los Angeles is an excellent example. So I'll just zoom in here and park it. Now, I was able to do it earlier, maybe this is a connection here. But one of the plugins you can get for QGIS is you can get a plugin that allows you to open up layers. So you can put up the entire street network underneath this. I'm sure you know city much better than me. This is Avenue Point. Right up there.
Yes.
And these are the footprints of buildings. So this is typically how cities collect information about buildings. They collect the footprint itself, and they collect the height of the building. No other properties. So if you're an architect, you'd have to add other information in here if you want to do things like, say, study what's happening inside the building, because you need to know about the fabric, whether it's glass, concrete, steel, etc. But it's the most basic information that you can get about buildings in the city. It's very good that it's available because you can do an awful lot of things with it. What would be nice, and if you had more information on it, is if you had information on land cover, like where the parks were, where the green areas were, where the trees were, you can add them all into this data set. Now, because the package I use, this one here, is called UMAP, the way it works is it converts these footprints, vector footprints, into a raster data set. So what's a raster data set? It divides up the entire landscape into a series of grid squares of a given size. And each of those grid squares of a given size will take on the properties of whatever it encloses. So I can convert from vector to raster very, very simply.
The last one.
Last one.
Convert. No. Convert. Get
That's polygonized, convert back to raster. Okay. Here's an example. This is the information stored inside the file. It indicates an identification code for the building. It indicates the height of the building and the area. So these are the properties associated with each of these. So I pick the height here, and then I indicate the size of the rasters. I can do units of size, or I can do georeference units. Let me see if I get these right. Where's the X min?
vertical resolution.
Yeah, that's
Horizontal
part of the
resolution. That's horizontal resolution. And that is the other one is the vertical resolution.
That should be enough for that. Where is it? Oh, very good. Sorry.
We want to put in with 5.
Okay. Just ready to go here. Save it as that's what they
Level
were
5, yes, you want 5. Then you mean it will be in diff form.
I forgetting this. I call this video. If you're anything like me, I always forget that I got these things. What am I missing here? Okay, trust me, because I do it on my own machine too. You can translate this into equivalent. Now, because the system I'm going to use can actually generate shadow patterns and all the rest, the more area you give it, the harder its job, basically. So I picked a small section. So you just add it here.
Layer, yes.
Okay, that's a small area of it. So can everybody get that up on this on your? That's the one that I ended up rasterizing. Can you get this on your screen? No, why not? Oh yeah, there.
You don't need to. No. So push up una que se llama Paulista.
Just kind of additional.
Mostró cómo conectar un adicional camada.
Lo tenemos que
No puede nada. There you give a camada adicional camada.
Where we in this play for yeah, that's right. Indeed.
Mas aqui, ó,
And it was
atribuir tem que clicar aqui, vamos lá salvar, ou não precisa?
Isso é vector base, isso é vector 4, era muito bom.
Arrasta, converter. Tudo já está aqui, né? Horizontal, certo? E aí está só um aqui. Como é que eu estou dando certo?
Não, esse daí é outra camada que é
A
diferente.
conversão para o arquivo raster era só um excel.
So the only reason I made it smaller was simply because it's going to work much more quickly. Okay.
This is a vector 5.
I'll turn this off. Okay, now I rasterized this file. So let me just open up the rasterized version, okay? So I'm going to go to Command again. I'm going to add another one. This time I'm going to add in the raster file. And the raster files always have a DEM associated with it. So the one I'm looking for is this file is the one. Now,
Agora é um raster file. Tem que ir à camada, adicionar raster. E o raster se chama Paulista 1.
so all I have now is a blocky map same here.
É só como exemplo, porque rasterizar e depois colocar e misturar e fazer todo o processo em um arquivo muito grande demoraria muito tempo nessa máquina que chama isso aqui. Então, o professor preparou já um recepinho pequeno, mas a metodologia é igual, para pequeno, grande é a mesma coisa. É sempre fazer isso.
So the one thing now you'll see is that it took the area that I clipped out, and wherever the building is, it's got a value. Wherever there's no building, it's got a value of 0. Okay? Now I did one other thing. It's a bit cheating, but nevertheless it's the only way I could do it easily. I simply created another file like this that's completely blank as a 0, as a platform. Now I could have done it if I had details about the actual topography, but the topographic data is rarely available at exactly the same scale, so it's much easier for me just to pull in a data file exactly the same as that, but with all the buildings scrubbed out. So let me just open up that file also.
I will explain what you.
Yeah. So I'm going to come out once more. It's the last time I'm going to do this now, by the way. It's an additional file.
Ele preparou arquivo de brincadeira, vamos dizer assim, porque o ideal para fazer a análise que ele vai fazer é ter modelo de elevação. Mas, como estava complicado, vai ser muito grande, o computador tem pouca potência, ele simplesmente assumiu que esse pedaço da Avenida Paulista, como está no topo, ele está assumindo que está plano. Então ele criou um arquivo do mesmo tamanho que o raster, só que a altura zero. So it's a dummy file from flat.
Flat. Yeah. It's like a piece of paper, nothing on it.
Ele foi em camada e ele foi adicionado.
Agora vai adicionar, se chama Paul DM.
Mas esse raster?
Isso é raster.
Raster.
There's nothing in it. When you open up, you'll just see it's flat.
O outro raster tem a forma do prédio e o valor e a altura do prédio. E este tem a forma do quadrado da área e o valor é plano. Mas poderia ter o relevo.
Now I did actually, before, I did pull down a topographic map, but it's very, very hard to get information on the landscape at the same detail as the buildings. So the information that you can generally get, the most precise information, globally, is at a resolution of 30 meters. But this is a resolution of 1 meter.
In,
1 meter resolution.
In the GeoSampa, I'm not sure, but I think they have a PTA detailed
What do they?
to 5 meters or less, so it can be interpolated to one, but that's another story.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I was looking for the topographic map. I couldn't find it.
There is.
Okay, so now let's just do something interesting rather than just data sets.
Anyway, the top of Paulista
Posso
Avenue,
subir pro drive?
it can be considered as more or less flat.
Okay? So UMAP. Now, there's a couple of things you can do in UMAP. One is you can actually bring in ecological data. I'm not going to do that for a very good reason. One is that we don't need it to do what I'm going to do today. But I can pull in ecological data, such as the data that's available online for South Florida. It also allows you to bring in various types of spatial data. So, look, there's meteorology. It allows me to bring in my own data, or in fact, to download data. It does spatial data. So it will allow me to actually generate what's known as a digital surface model. It will also allow me to generate trees. And for those of you who are aware of this, it will actually convert from climate zones to allow you to do certain types of models. Okay, this is the one I'm going to do. First one is I'm going to just do a simple solar radiation. So I've gone into UMAP, I've gone into processor, solar radiation, and I'm going to pull out the daily shadow pattern. I'm going to treat my polyester 1 as a DSM, a digital surface model. I have no vegetation. Now there's an opportunity here. The opportunity is to generate shadows only once for midday, and I can give it a given day. I can also tell it the time. This is UTC, that's time in London, on Greenwich. So we're 4 hours after that. And then I can actually download it. Okay, so let's generate the shadow pattern. Let's do it for today. Let me do it for every hour. We're 4 hours behind 3. And then I have an output folder. So I'll create a file, this new file called output, and I put it on there. And results project.
I cannot put this hour you put this interval because mine is not available. Did you do something to be available?
I just said, don't cast shadows only once. And then I said, do it for every hour. If I do it only once, it tells you what time you want to do it for.
Tem que demarcar essa caixinha, senão não dá.
E que horas que ele colocou? Mal ele tem.
1 hora. Vamos fazer um intervalo de 1 hora. E o intervalo com o meridiano de 3 menos 3 horas.
Peraí, então.
Lá embaixo.
Tá.
Ok? E dá uma saída para ele no diretório porque você tem no diretório.
I said, add results to the project.
E adicionar o resultado do ele.
This gives me the shadow fraction over a given day. You open up a
E run? Also, run, né?
Yes, do you run it?
E
Then it eventually comes back and says completed.
Vai dar ele.
Down here. Okay. And I go to oh. Why don't we sit up here, because otherwise we'll get very
Deu
confused if
problema,
you know that we met.
Deu, rodou?
Want to sit there? So, okay. Now this is the combined shadow patterns over the course of the entire day. So I can pick out any one of them. Go to command again. Then you add a raster file. Go to output. There's all the shadows that were generated. Let's pick out the one for midday. And add them in. Okay, now I'll turn that off. So there's the shadow patterns. Yeah.
Já estava pronto. Tudo funciona no tutorial. Vou fazer os dados seus. Né? Mas o teu fez ou tu pegou pronto? Ah,
So all the other files are in the shadows.
onde?
Na hora de configurar o ambiente,
Sorry, command. Excuse me.
Sim, eu rodei também, mas não rodou. Eu fui trocando lá os.
mas
There's all the different shadows. So now we'll say 10 o'clock in the morning.
Fica com suplemento, né? Para visitar. Mandando os dados também.
Now, it actually is fairly good at running shadow patterns, and I've done it myself for the entire study area, all the hours of the day. You can do it all the hours of the day, all the hours of the year. You create a video out of it. It's extremely effective if you want to tell people about how your geometry affects shadow patterns. Okay, I'm going to do one other one now, which is the sky view factor. The sky view factor is a lot more complicated because the sky view factor, the geometry associated with shadow patterns is very simple. Because you know where the sun is located, you know the elevation of the sun, so you know the length of the shadow based upon the height. So it's very easy to generate shadows, so you can do it very quickly. Sky view factor is a lot more complicated because it has to figure out for every single area on the entire map what is its relationship to every other cell. So I'm going to calculate the sky view factor. So I'm going to go to UNF. And under urban geometry, it allows me to calculate the sky view factor. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate wall height and aspect eventually. And the reason for this, I need to know the height of the wall. Aspect is the direction which the wall is facing. If I want to find out how much energy is falling on the face of the building. Because that side of the building is away from the sun, whereas this side of the building is facing the sun. So, wall height and aspect, sky view factor gives me the geometry. So let's do sky view factor. There's my polyst again. Okay, I don't have vegetation, but if I had the tree canopy, it would include that. Again, I'll go to the output. Now, run. You can see that it's going to take a little bit of time. Post it, make yourself a cup of tea.
Here will be a cup of coffee. Vai tomar cafezinho.
Ou um caju. Eu tô
cajuína. Você escutou. Toma uma cajuína.
Well, so do you have a map for all the dots of the trees? Well, the easy way for you to do that is to take the dots of the trees, put a buffer around the dot, so now you have the canopy.
Yes.
Then to raise the canopy above the ground. And then if you do the rasterize that becomes vegetation, digital size.
That it would like count first as later.
It would treat
It would be
it,
like.
no, you tell it, if you look at the, so there's a process. If you look at,
That would be altura
the tree
das
generator.
árvores. Você.
Vector contour the tree height, total height, trunk zone height, diameter, and it'll generate the DSM, which is just a trees. And when you go to the sky view factor,
So then all the trees will be.
unless you go and actually measure everything. That takes a long time.
Tá rodando. Aqui também. Pega pronto da pasta. Aquele colega que estava ensinando R, eu fiz um curso com o colega de R. Não tinha graça fazer o curso com ele, fazer tudo muito rápido, os códigos, assim. Mas não tem porquê, você pode rodar. Ele leva para ensinar R pra gente. Mas ele era muito rápido, ele nervoso, ele não tinha paciência para ensinar. Ele começava a digitar os códigos. Aí ele, eu posso dar para vocês, deixa eu explicar. Depois entender o que é.
Ah, tá.
E aí eu só falo de classe.
É, o que não quero.
Tudo era muito óbvio. O programador, entendeu?
O meu ainda tá no primeiro passo. Aquele do primeiro ano.
Pra depois. Não, ele tá nesse aqui ainda. Aí depois eu ainda tenho que fazer esse. E ainda tem que fazer essa atualização.
Entendi.
Mas o importante é o projeto.
Ele está fazendo também. Só. Tá fazendo os dois também. Você pode os dois ao mesmo tempo. Legal, isso eu não sabia.
É sobre carregar no computador.
Tá vendo como que a gente está melhor? Tá top.
Eu gostei disso.
São legais, né?
Ideia.
Será que funciona para ponte? Dependendo do ângulo de inclinação do sol, deve ter, né? Sombra. Sabe por quê? Um dos problemas de você classificar a imagem de alta resolução em áreas que tem pontes é a sombra que a ponte faz no mangue. Você confunde o mangue com a sombra da ponte.
Ah, muito fácil.
Você não está do lado, é do
So you see, the sky view factor actually takes a lot of work. But it's only one file. Okay.
Então você escolheu o modelo aqui.
So what you end up getting back,
So não deve passar
Aqui é o nosso laboratório. Laboratório de imagem.
Estava para tudo 1 hora por vez. Estava falando aquele primeiro de 1 hora por vez. Depois, ele usar só 1 hora. Vocês selecionaram só 1 hora ou ele parou também?
Selecionamos só
1 hora? Não, esse é o intervalo de 1 hora, tem que selecionar 1 hora específica. Por isso que ele pediu papo.
I don't want to focus on, sorry, immediately, why you're getting the term.
They run for 1 hour.
No, I was trying one instance. I'm still getting there.
Ah, então ninguém ele tinha mudado lá, né? Então fez, né? Tu botou aí intervalo de 1 hora, tu botou 1 hora específica. O ano, o Aula é o nosso. Vou testar lá. É porque tá posto terminando, deixa eu terminar isso.
Você selecionou horário.
That's why it's much higher to describe the factor than anything else.
Você selecionou horário específico ou aquele horário?
So this one I get back to the Skype factor. You can see it's very, very subtle. The values go between very, very small to 1. Now, the only reason it looks like this is because I put those footprints. If I take away the footprint, you'll see that the highest value factors are the rooftops of buildings, because they can see the sky. So these are the surfaces that get covered at night time. The surfaces that have the best ability to hold on to heat are the ones that are darkest here. So those are the areas that are closest to the buildings, often in between buildings like here. So I can tell you straight off on a calm night, if I had an air thermometer, that the centre of polyester will be relatively cool. In there, it'll be relatively warm. Relatively warm, and the reason is because these surfaces here see very little of the sky, and at night time, it will move very, very slowly. So in nighttime situation, the surface is cool, rooftops cool quick, street cools slower, these spaces cool much slower still. So this is where the canopy level heat is always strongest. What we're missing here, we were just talking about, are the trees. This is why trees are so important as a basic database to understand the city. Because the trees, remember, also the canopy, and they cover the sky. Trees, as I said before, are very, very efficient means of altering the surface climate because they can be inserted inside paved systems. There's a canopy, and the canopy generates shadows, but the canopy also obscures the sky at night. Okay, so now we got the shadows out, and we got the sky factor. Can I do something like a little more difficult, like calculate the thermal comfort? So, I'm going to go to UMAP again. This time I'm going to go into outdoor thermal comfort. This is where all those bits and pieces come in handy. You get the mean radiant temperature. Not only of the surfaces, but it's the mean radiant temperature, it's the temperature of all the walls of the structure. Now before I can do that, I need to do one other thing. I need to calculate the aspects of the walls and the height of the walls in a rasterized format. So one last thing. I'm going to pre-processor the geometry, and I'm going to get the wall height. The wall aspect. So you can see this package is really designed for sort of design sizes. It's not designed to look at an entire city. It's really designed to look at relatively small spaces because it can run on relatively slow machines. So now I have the wall heights and the wall aspects. So there, for example, the wall aspects, 352 means it's practically facing north height, 0, 90, 180, 270, 352. So they're the wall aspects, they're the wall heights. The highest wall we have there is about 98. So now I have all the bits and pieces that Solveig needs for it to calculate thermal comfort. Outdoor thermal comfort. I'm going to go into Solveig, mean radiant temperature. So here now is the heart of the model. It allows you to take meteorological data, you bring in your digital surface model, in other words, probably still one. Once the DEM, which is why I created that flat boundary, that was there, the ground DEM. Once the wall aspect, once the wall height, and it calculates mean radiant temperature, K up, radiation reflected off the ground, K down, energy going into the ground, L down, L up, shadow patterns. It makes certain assumptions. Make certain assumptions about. So I don't know what this about the ability of the surface to absorb radiation. So it says 70% will be absorbed, 30% rejected. Absorption of long-way radiation, effectively it's emissivity, 95%. It allows you to put in the posture of a body, standing versus sitting versus kneeling. It allows you to put in your age. These are the physiologically equivalent temperature, your activity, what sort of work you're doing, what type of clothing you're wearing, what's your weight, what's your height. So it allows you to do lots of things. Not surprisingly, I'm going to make it life easy, do the easiest ones. First of all, there's my Polvista, that's my DSM. There's my Sky factors, which are an output. I don't have any vegetation. I don't have land cover grid, but if I did, I could have vegetation in there. I have ground DEM, which is this one here, which is flat. There's the wall aspect. There's the wall height.
The wall height is expressed in percent? Or in meters?
I think the meters conflict.
In meters. They say 97 or 95.
It did, yeah. That was the tallest building in there. Now, here's where you put in your climate. Now, the John sent me a weather file, so I just looked through and see what typical values might be like in January, heading toward February, which I guess is the warmest time of the year here. So, the 14th of, the 9th of February last year, temperature was 30. So let me just go back to, okay, it says 97. I'm not going to put it in our own data set, so I'll say it was the 9th, sorry, it was 8th, sorry. The air temperature was 30. The relative humidity is at noon or thereabouts, was 50%. Global radiation was close to 1,000. I'll make this 900, it was a nice cold day. I'll make this 100. I know anyway, there's wind at a height of 10 meters, and there's water temperature. I'm not going to change any of these things. I want to get this mean radiant temperature. I get K down, I get shadow, I get L up. How the hell do you get up? I won't fit into the screen, so I can't get it. Can I maybe do this? I can't get it.
Can't the resolution from the C go to the desktop and change the resolution? I go to desktop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where am I here now?
Desktop. Sorry, no, bottom right. Bottom right. Click. No, more right, more forward. Yes, click. Yes. Right click on the desktop.
The screen. Right click on the screen.
Right, the screen started there.
Resolution.
Aquele que aumenta, que é
Yeah. Change this.
como se fosse uma luz.
All into the max.
Like that. It's not too bad, is it?
Yeah.
So we're good.
It's because of the projector.
Okay, well,
Finished, yes.
No, yes, first.
that's a lot worse, okay.
Now click on the screen. Yeah.
Don't get a lot of choice here, you know that?
Yeah.
It's actually, it's not that, it's on this screen here, I can see.
So you say okay.
Okay.
Não, tem que escolher que passa do projetor.
Mas eu acho que
É quase o projetor.
Keep it in.
Yeah.
And let's come to.
But the problem is on my screen here, I
posso
can see.
também tá.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Tem um comando que eu não
If I take off this one momentarily, let's see. Now,
And now it's flashing.
no,
não
but here,
aparece a parte
No,
it's the same.
yeah.
é um bugzinho, é um bug.
If you go on that options again, you can change.
Here in this one, without the screen.
Where now, here I have options now.
The same place.
Same place, which one?
It should be aqui um monitor.
Now, 1024% de meia-noite, igual.
Passou também.
Aliás, eu acabei cancelando sem querer,
Foi?
as informações. Pois é.
Aí pode mandar.
Keep it.
E aí?
Fine. There it is. Where? Here? Okay?
Se for uma cargadinha, aí se puder virar mais rápido, ó. Olha isso, você não vem mais. Eu vi ela de manhã aqui arrumando aqui as coisas, tá? Ninguém sabe agora.
Okay.
Esse pessoal da Cola.
Well, it's getting close anyway. I wonder if maybe I can then finish this off tomorrow before we start.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
I get my computer rules.
Okay.
But if nobody else can get it, no, nobody else can get down there.
Deixa eu ver se lembra.
Okay, I don't know why it is. We have to change resolution if we want to see it.
I wanted to reduce the screen here because you need to press OK, isn't it?
I need to go down and just change the settings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not working.
No, it's not.
So we can change to your.
But everybody else is in the same situation. Nobody else can see.
Você não vê o
No.
final?
Não, também. Aí, ó.
Ah, então.
Gerald. É um bugzinho dos programas.
E não tem como.
Tem um comando contra alguma coisa, mas não lembro, não testei aqui. Aqui no
It's a bug in this program. It's not your computer only. Everybody has the same.
Yeah, but I have no problem. I own the computer. So it's obviously scaled to a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you'd have to imagine.
Can you show
da
with
técnica.
your
Show you.
Técnica que acaba com ela.
Olha, Ulisses.
Ixi, tá gravando.
Eles showing the plasma protective. Ele não está deixando número isso.
Não. No final a gente vê
Eu duvido, mas na máquina dele funciona.
Funciona no
Ninguém sabe
laptop?
aqui, ele não tá.
Acho que o tamanho da tela não permite. E também não dá para configurar
Mas
de
deve vir
ocultar
assim,
a barra
né?
de
Notebook é
tarefas.
assim, né?
Então,
Ok?
É, tem essa diferença.
ok. Believe us.
Yeah, trust me.
Funciona.
You map.
Do dele funciona. Ele está no laptop dele. Eu acho que é a confirmação da tela 16 por 11, não sei, 16 por 8.
Não sei, acho que é.
E a outra é 16 por 4.
Professor, para gerar um shape file, se for outra região que não tem a região Sampa, qual que é o melhor site? Na região de São Paulo.
No próprio GeoSamba tem os shapefiles.
Mas da, por exemplo, do Santo André, Campinas, esses outros.
Ah.
Só tem São Paulo.
Não, só de São Paulo.
Não tem outro lugar.
Eu acho que desse tipo de prédio, eu acho que só. Eu não sei se tem para a região metropolitana toda ou é só o município. Aí não sei. Eu acho que me temo que é só o município, né?
Dá para gerar em outro lugar?
Não sei. Não sei.
Okay. So there's the poly stuff. Then that's the DEM. There's the blank DEM file, that's the flat ground. The sky view factors, which is a very big file. Wall height, wall aspect. Now, what this allows you to do, now you can see the entire thing, is you can actually put in a point of interest, a place where you're interested in trying to modify the plan. So that's the POI. So you can actually have a series of dots in the set that you're trying to take care of, where you are calculating all the comfort indices. Not always to make decisions about whether I put a tree in here or change the type of cover. There's our human exposure. I'm going to generate mean radiant temperature, K down, K up, shadow, L down, L up. Okay, I'm only going to do it for one time. The date is going to be the 8th of February. The temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, it's a very hot day. Relative humidity was 50% or thereabouts. The global radiation is 1,000. About 900 I'm saying is direct. It was the beam. And at 100 I'm going to say is diffuse, coming from the parts of the sky. -3. I've put in the average mean radiant temperature on the map. There's only one time, it's 12:30, and I'll run. Again, go make a cup of tea because it takes a little time. the mean radiant temperature. Just to remind you, turn off this, turn off that. Just put down the heights of the buildings. These stuff. Like that. That's just some of the information here. Now, wherever the value is lowest, it's the place it's in shadow. Whenever the value is highest, the place is in direct sunshine. So, there, it's estimated the mean radiant temperature, if I was standing at that point there, is 14.2 degrees Celsius. That means all the walls that surround you, they generate the same radiation load on them as though I was standing inside a box. The temperatures of all the surfaces was 40 degrees Celsius. Here in the center of Bautista, out of the shadow, the value is 62 degrees Celsius. In other words, the temperature has gone up by 20 degrees Celsius in terms of my comfort standing in this place here. Now remember, the mean radiant temperature is often the most powerful variable that describes your comfort when it's nice and sunny, when there's no wind. That's why the most effective thing you can do is relocate into shadows. Now I only did the mean radiant temperature one time a day, one period of the year, which will run this model throughout the year to find out which spaces in Bautista are good during the winter, which spaces are good during the summer, which are good during the nighttime, which are good during the daytime. So this is what this model is capable of. I just pulled up the mean radiant temperature, but in fact I could add in the other layers. Because not only does it generate the shadow patterns, there's a shadow pattern 1230. So you can see every place identified as relatively cool also has to be in shadow, no surprise. This is the radiation from the sun. Change the color, not surprisingly, it shows us again. In the middle of the street, I have 992 watts per square meter. In the shadow, however, it's gone down to 104 watts per square meter. So you take the biggest load off your body by simply moving into shade. Now the way you use this is, we're talking about vegetation, is if you chose an area that they're going to remodel, to redesign, you would do it in light of what you're trying to achieve. If vegetation was the best way of doing it, you would estimate planting regimes along it to provide spaces for comfort in different methods. That's how you do it. It's a very simple model. It's available for free. And you can see that if I had tree information, I can include it in. If I had information on land cover, I could include it in. I've only just explored it, but in fact the model generates solar fractions and solar radiation on all the facets of the building. So it can do an awful lot of exploration. I'll run a model tomorrow for the area that we're going to look in, which is just off campus. It's quite interesting in terms of the shapes of buildings. And I'm going to introduce you to Camilla, which is doing some work on Santos. And she's been using this model to talk about, as Santos goes more high-rise, what's the effect on the outdoor climate, to what extent you can actually plant trees to offset some of the unwanted effects of tall buildings.
And Santos also has the sea effect.
Yeah, the sea breeze. Okay, well, thank you for your attention. I'm sorry if it didn't work out at the very end, but now you know how to run the package. If you put this on your machine, and if you run it, I don't know why you had problems with your solar radiation beforehand. But if I had more time, I could see what the issue was. I suspect it's just that the machines themselves are all different abilities. Okay, I'll leave it there. Thank you.